when I interviewed for the Loeb Award and said, "You sound like you're ahead of your time." I hated mathematics. No, honestly, the education I received, though it was great, it turned me off of mathematics. I'm not bragging or anything, but I was always smart in my subjects. I had to take algebra twice, I take geometry twice, and they had the Regents exams in New York. I'm just not a person where you could come and put something on the board and say, read these pages and then come back and go over the homework. There might have been a racial component too, because I got ignored a lot. God, I hated mathematics. And I said, graduate from high school and get as far away from math as I can. We say kids get a turn off at the fourth grade, fifth grade when it comes to math, but a lot of that has to do with the instruction. So when I met my husband at college, and I think we had dated like 3 times, and he said, "I'm going to marry you." And I said, "You're crazy." And he was a math teacher. And he said, "You'd be good for teaching mathematics." And I said, "Why?" Because he tutored me in math. He said, "Well, you're quick to learn it." And I said, "Well, that's because I like you." The way he would talk to me, and he was a great teacher in East St. Louis. Oh, he was a great teacher. The way he would teach me something or help me, and I'm like, it can be done. If you only integrate yourself into what you're doing, not just how you do it, but how it affects who you're doing it with. If you let that be the motivation, you can be very successful with students. More than anything else I've done in my life, that's one of the things I can die and feel good about. I've had kids cry and say, "I never passed the test until I took your class." It just would affect me, and it kept me motivated to that extent. I decided to go forward with developing an annual mathematics competition and also a mathematics fair. And I would generate enough funds so that the students got scholarships, savings bonds, computers. That was a wonderful experience for me because I got so many naysayers that it would never be done. Because I did it for almost a decade, developing that mathematics contest, mathematics fair, getting teachers and students interested in the competition. I would just love it when we would have the award ceremony and see the kids just screaming and cheering. Teachers have got to get a voice, have enough courage to challenge what you know isn't right. This takes courage. For those who aren't in the classroom 8 hours a day, to come and say, "This is what you need to do because it's my child." There's a medium there somewhere where the two minds meet. I believe that teachers helping teachers are the best way for teachers to achieve goals. If along the way you get beaten down and say, "Well, I can't fight this," or "It's going to be this way," or I said, if you get beaten down, you take kids with you. They can't go as high as they need to go unless you have that same excitement. That same first day kind of I can rule the world excitement coming into your classroom. I would tell parents all the time, one of the things that I hear is, "I can understand why they can't do math because I can never do math." So, I would hear that excuse, but you would not say that about other things in life for your child. If you want help in how to help them do what I've assigned them to do, here's my number. Call me, ask me. Your children are a reflection of you, and your reflection should not be, "You can't do this." There was a movement in mathematics education that came out in the mid to late 90s where NCTM was pushing using manipulatives, things that you do here at the Science Center, using manipulatives, using concrete objects. That's what you have to do. The stuff you guys do. I think if more math and science people could actually work together, everything you do in mathematics is kind of like an experiment that you need to do for a kid to learn, right? Just like you do in science, you do experiments, and then you analyze the result of the experiment and say, "Well, this is the reason why." And that's what you have to do in math also. It's a science. Yeah. Almost unbelievable. I had been teaching, I think, about 11 years. And there were teachers in the competition that had been in there 20 years, so on and so forth, and they were good teachers. And so I truly was shocked. It was just unbelievable. And I asked Mrs. Loeb, can I speak? And it was at the time that teachers were contemplating going on strike. Our salaries were always miserable. And I went to address them, and I told them I was proud to be one of them. It wasn't so much about, being a mathematics teacher was important, but I was proud to be one of them because, we have to mold and shape and create. People look at us like we have part-time jobs. You only work 8 to 3. It's not an easy thing. And so I wanted to appreciate being a teacher, and I wanted to let the audience know that being a teacher is one of the best things that you can do in life. We stand here in the present and we provide the future. Yes. And not everybody can do that because it gives a sense of community recognition of teaching math and science, a community recognition of the importance of teachers. To have that official recognition, and as I said I started out by saying, Mr. and Mrs. Loeb, this is something that I will never forget, and to thank you for recognizing, that's important. It's always meant a lot to me. It's a thing that would give me solace, especially when I couldn't teach. Honestly, I love the Star Show. Because I remember in New York City, my first visit to a planetarium, and I was just awestruck. And I think every kid should be able to see that. So they'd always have to go to a couple of those, and they'd spend the whole summer with me. And so we virtually lived here at the Science Center. But one of the things they loved, and we talk about it now, and they're like, one is 19 and one is 22. And they talk about the Star Show and how much it meant to them.